Welcome back to the Podcast Chronicles. I am one of your hosts, Ronny.
My name is Chaz Chart.
And thanks once again for inviting us into your ears.
Wait, what did you say? That just caught me off guard.
I thanked them for inviting us into their ears.
See, I thought you were going to thank me for inviting you into the studio, but you said into their ears.
No, the studio is terrible. The lights are still out. We're still looking at you in lighting that I would not typically like seeing you in.
And our vibrations are still sliding into people's ear canals.
You kind of had a orangish glow to you right now. But I will like to say the only thing vibrating or sliding into anything is our voices into the listeners' ears.
Into the canals.
And with that being said, how about we talk some more about Squid Games? The Squid Game. Squid Game.
I'm going to be honest. Still don't know if it's Squid's Game or Squid Games.
Well, I think it's not that one.
Or...
I saw where you were going, and I agree with you, but I think we can rule that one out.
So it's just Squid Game, right?
Squid Game.
Okay.
And last time we covered episodes 1 through 3. Today, we're going to start with episode 4. And we might be able to get through episode 7 in this one. And then finish it off with 8, 9, and some final talk in the next one. We'll see what happens.
Nice classes.
Thank you. We make the rules around here. Episode 4, stick to the team. How are you today, by the way?
I'm doing pretty good, man. My eczema's kind of been acting up lately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, eczema is a rare skin condition.
People know what it is. Well, it's not that rare.
A lot of people get it when it turns wintertime. Or not winter, fall, wintertime. Changes season.
You've been chapping.
Yeah, I've been chapping. My lips have been chapping, and my
skin's been chapping.
My arms,
Ration.
I get rashes on my
chapping
arms.
And ration.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, fall is here, people. Happy fall.
By the way, beautiful drive over here. The leaves are changing. I was on the way home from work.
I agree.
Because we're hardworking men.
That's what we do.
It really opened up my mind.
Just left one job to making our way to the next. That's what we do here.
Yep.
But no, yeah. Outside of the fact that it's 40 degrees and raining, it's wonderful outside. It's great.
Hey, go Braves.
Go Braves.
We're in Georgia, folks.
And
World Series.
Our boys are in the World Series. We'll see what happens. You always get ready for the heartache. That's what we've been doing for the past 25 years in any Georgia sport. But, hey, we're hoping for the best. Episode 4, stick to the team. We see the doctor being led off to a special location. Some people in the camera room are covering for them. They got a little quick key to hide.
So, is it like they're erasing the footage as soon as he goes through? Or
just like looping back more footage or something like that. Yeah. It's
You're a professional editor. Do you know exactly how they're doing it?
Oh, yeah. They're just doing it's a quick key. Okay. And they're rewinding the film to. I think they're running on a film projector here,
and basically just they're messing with the film is what they're doing.
Yes.
Okay.
Now don't think about it too hard because there's about 50 people here looking at screens, and I don't see how this one person is the only one. I don't know if they can hack into the other cameras and hide all of them because as we talked about last episode, there's some Willy Wonka bullshit going on with these staircases.
Yeah, it's hard to decide because it's not like, well, maybe he just has that one passageway. He's controlling that area. I don't know.
Which is exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
These people have to walk a ways to get to where they're going.
Yeah.
And it seems like they would be caught on a bunch of different cameras. But what do I know? All right? It seems like they got this thing figured out. Who am I to question? Gi-hun realizes that Sung-woo might have set him up. Remember the last Cookie episode? And he said Sung-woo had a vibe about him, but then ultimately said, no, we should split up.
Yeah, this guy's the ultimate vibe.
And Gi-hun was like, oh, I'm going to go with the umbrella. And Sung-woo was like, you go for it.
And why do you think he did that again? I think we mentioned this, but...
Why did he let him do it?
Why did he start to stop him and then he just let him do it?
I think Sung-woo is a very wise guy. And I don't mean that as in like, oh, you're a wise guy, buddy. I mean it more like he's an actual guy who's very wise. And I think he sees where this thing is coming or going, as in, people are going to keep dwindling off, and he knows this is a sick game, and in the end, they might be forced to eliminate other contestants. So in his heart of hearts, he's like, it might be easier for me to...
If he died like that instead of me having to kill him?
He's like, technically, he's making his own choice.
Yeah.
If I can just go over here and, scrape my little circle or triangle out and then get out of there, and then he dies and I don't have to see it or be a part of it, that might be the easiest way for this to go down.
Yeah.
Is kind of what I think his mindset is there.
I think that's a beautiful way to put it.
Thank you. I'm in a good little spot today. I think this is going to be a great podcast. I think both of us are going to make some great points.
You were talking about him being a wise guy. You seem like a wise guy today.
Well, thank you. I am wearing the glasses. I always wear glasses, and by always, I mean this is the first time I've worn these blue UV glasses in about 8 months. But I think I look like a wise guy when I wear them, so that's why I'm doing it.
But every 8 months, you always wear them. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. This morning, all they get for breakfast, by the way, is one hard-boiled egg and a drink that I could not determine.
And
I'm not a liquids fan. I'm not a liquids man.
I'm not a hard-boiled egg fan.
You're not into the hard-boiled egg?
No. So I wouldn't even have ate it. I would have...
What is it about the hard-boiled egg that you don't fancy?
It's hard, one.
Well, it's not, though.
Well, then why is it called a hard-boiled egg?
Because you... in a certain way, it's harder than when it starts. You can't argue with that.
So it is hard.
But it's not.
See, this is what every chick says about me. It's not really hard. It's not that hard.
Right.
It's harder than what it was to begin with.
Yeah,
but...
to crack your inner sanctum like an egg is what you're talking about. Yes.
Yes.
Like the inside of you, they say, is not a hard-boiled egg. You get pretty mushy and you spill your not your fillings. Cause,
whoa.
I mean, your feelings.
Yes.
You're not spilling your fillings either because you're not hard, as we discussed. So it's hard to spill your fillings.
Even though I could do that.
Well, but listen. What we're talking about here is hard-boiled eggs. And
it's just, I don't like the texture, man. What I'm trying to get at, they're not that hard.
But, exactly. You were arguing that they were. Exactly my point,
It depends on your definition of hard. I am just not a big fan of hard-boiled eggs. That's all it comes down to. I don't like them that much.
You know what?
I would rather have them scrambled or omeletted.
I like a warm/hot egg.
Yeah.
I think that's what it comes down to. I don't like a room temps to cold egg.
That's a fair point. It's probably a better way to put it than what I did.
And then, did you have any take on the liquid they're drinking here?
Yeah, I just think it's kind of like I think it's watered milk.
Like a sparkling water, maybe?
Yeah, it looks like watered milk.
Watered milk.
Yeah, I don't know why they would do that, but that's what it looks like. It's just my take.
Like a skim milk or even further watered than that?
Yeah, it might be a skim. It's on the either skin or skim milk.
Skin or skim milk, okay. And obviously this is going to cause drama in the little warehouse bedroom here. Doksu and his gang hop back in line for seconds. And when confronted about it, he does what anyone would do and just kills a guy. And by the way, that is absolutely fine. No problems here.
Survival of the fittest.
It's another layer to the game, all right? And I respect it. I'm the kind of guy who's going to try and slip back to the line. You know,
first in line, and then somehow you're first in line again.
First in line, back in line, and if you're not watching too closely, I'm in somewhere in the middle of the line.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just kills the guy. And we cut over. So what did you think of this? Because it adds a whole other layer. Because when you first watched it, were you like, oh, they're going to...
Oh, I knew as soon as he was beating the shit out of him and nothing was happening, I was like, oh, they're just going to let it go.
I will say, yeah, that's how I was too. Once he...
Because it takes him a while to beat the shit out of the guy.
They do a good job of shooting it, where like he starts punching him, you get Gihan's reaction, like he's waiting for someone to do something, and then right away you're like, they are cool with this.
Mm-hmm. It instantly, as soon as that happens though, it's instant just, oh, fuck.
Right.
You realize everything is screwed, because that wasn't even bedtime. Like, they were all just getting ready to eat.
which, and obviously we'll get to bedtime. This was the first time when I went into it, a lot of people were describing it as Hunger Games. And as far as the games themselves go, it's not really a Hunger Games. I mean, I guess I kind of saw where people were talking about it. This is the Hunger Games shit, except
because they were all hungry. They were all hungry and they died.
One hard-boiled egg. That's not going to get it done. So we see the doctor harvesting organs for some squids to sell. And this way, they let him know what the next game is. So this is why he's harvesting the organs.
It's pretty nuts, man, because by my calculations, it's about $50K for the kidneys, $100K for the heart.
Yeah.
And this guy goes further than that. Most of the time, you're looking for liver, kidneys, heart. He's going eyeball. This guy goes, I might be skipping too far ahead, but he does this. He does a lot of the organs, and it's kind of disturbing because if I'm going to harvest organs, it's just going to be like the kidneys and the heart, and I'm not going to go any further.
And why is that? Those are the big money makers?
Those are the big money makers, and then at one point, are you just playing with the body? You know, you start harvesting so many organs, you're just like playing with it. Does
it make it better if there's a couple other guys in the room? Just, you're talking about whatever?
It does make it better. I will say that this guy, there's no way this guy would have done all the organs if those guys weren't in the room.
Yeah. Anytime you're harvesting organs, if you're by yourself and you go past the kidneys and the heart, you're basically a serial killer. Get help. If you got a couple pals in the room, you're fine to keep working on that until you get the job done.
Am I right on my money guesses?
That's our stance on that. Chad, believe it or not, I couldn't give you accurate black market prices for the heart and the kidneys.
I think I'm pretty accurate on it.
Okay. Good for you.
And why, what's sick to think about? Who are they selling this to? Think about this happens in real life too, obviously not from Squid Game's perspective. But there are sick people out there that harvest organs. Are they selling this to like actual hospitals? Like who would buy harvested organs? I think from what I understand, when you're trying to get transplants and stuff, there's a waiting list. They don't have the number that you need for everyone to have them. So I can see, and in a perfect world, I guess the idea is you don't have, the list is the list. You can't hop people in the list. Therefore, if you got a rich person who's number 50, they'll pay big money to get a black market one because the hospital's not letting them jump the list just because they have money. Have you seen that Rockefeller guy? You know how the Rockefellers are hundreds of millions of dollars heirs, right? Yeah, billionaires. They've got money, is what I hear. And what do they do? What exactly is? I think it was like oil or something back then. Oil is probably a good oil tycoon. Yeah. One of the guys had like 10 heart transplants. Really? He was just doing it for fun. Yeah, I guess so. It's just crazy to think about all these people on waiting lists, and this guy's like, I've got so much money, I'm just gonna get 10 hearts. And I'll say it. We're talking about hard-boiled eggs. There's some rich, crazy people who just like to eat heart. Honestly, you're probably right on that. Yeah. I mean, there comes a point. Look at this. Look at this, for example. Some people are having an entire game where people kill each other for entertainment. You're telling me that someone doesn't have enough money to where they're like, you know what? I'm going to have some heart for dinner this evening. I think I'd rather have like a young kid's heart. Okay, and so moving on. Well, but not moving on. But moving on from that, but not moving on completely. You were talking about the Rockefellers' money. You have an update on Jeffrey Bezos? Oh, wow, I do. I'm actually starting here soon, shortly, a GoFundMe. Yeah. And what is that GoFundMe for? This GoFundMe is, well, if you haven't heard on the news lately, there's a new bastard in town named Elon Musk, and he is now the richest man on earth. He's retaken the throne. Don't like it. Not a fan. Don't like it. Because he's cheating. But here's the good thing. As earlier reported on a Learn a Little Something with Ronny and Chad, our flagship show, that's actually not our flagship show. Yep. I mentioned how Elon Musk and Grimes are Splitsville. They're donezo, right? Yep. And why exactly was Elon able to jump over our boy Jeffrey? It's because the woman stole some money.
and she,
Yeah. Oh, stole some money. She stole some money.
she stole a little piece of that pie.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I don't know. Elon he's...
And let me tell you what, that lady did not help him in the business whatsoever. You think that lady helped Jeffrey out? No, that man started from the bottom. Now he's here.
Well, she seems lovely.
Sure, she's a nice lady.
Yeah, I think she's very nice. Good for her having that money. She's now one of the richest women in the world.
And totally did not help him with that business.
And by the way, if you're new around here, because Squid Game was one of the most popular shows ever, and you looked for a podcast and somehow you unfortunately stumbled upon us, we will talk about Squid Game. But this is important. This all has to do with the organs. This is how far we dissect shows.
This is important because one day Jeffrey might be hosting his own Squid Games.
Do you think... Now, Elon's the type of guy to host a Squid Game.
Yeah, he would host a Squid Game with like AI versus humans or something.
Now, here's the thing. Do you think that Elon had Grimes sign a prenup?
Oh, yes. Which here, I want my boy Jeffrey to win, but do I like men that make women sign prenups? Yes, I do.
And while we're Team Jeffrey here, I think that's very good on Elon. And the reason I say that is because if you're getting married to someone named Grimes, yes, have them sign a prenup. Yes. That's what you do, okay?
It'd be grimy if you didn't.
All right, so moving on. Did you have anything else to say?
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to say the GoFundMe, you can contribute it at Mr. Jeffrey Bezos 1 trillion. The goal is to get him to $1 trillion, okay?
Wait, where do we type that in? We just go anywhere and just put in Mr. Bezos trillion? Or what
Mr. Jeffrey Bezos 1 trillion. And donate as much as you can. I know there's some people in need out there. Well, let me tell you, Jeffrey is in need, and we've got to get this man's to 1 trillion before Elon does. I think that's probably the most important goal of humanity at this point.
Love it. All right, so moving on. So the reason the doctor's harvesting the organs, they tell him the game, yada, yada, yada. For protection, he's going to tell main bully, Doksu, that he knows the next game so he can get in with the gang, be part of the group for safety. And then this is where we start seeing, I, for the first time, kind of realized what was going on with the squids.
Yep.
Squares are like team leaders. Triangles are muscles. They're the ones shooting people. And then circles are like the cleanup crew. They're the bitches.
Yeah, they are definitely the bitches, yeah.
And we get lights out at night. Chaos takes place. A bunch of beatdowns, makeshift weapons, bed frames.
Oh, dude, the bed frames. That's what I'd be most scared of is the bed frames like fall in because they got the high up beds. And
yeah. There was someone who got an egg early on and then went to their top bunk. They weren't privy to how tense things got. I think I saw them in there with a pillow. They thought it was a big pillow fight. And then they got clocked upside the head with a bedpost. And... bless their heart. They were just...
How do you even see during that? Didn't they have the flat... They started flashing the lights, but...
Right. Which is also, you ever been in a room like that? That's trippy.
It is very trippy. Well, dude, think about that. You're standing there in pitch black, and then the light flashes, and there's someone running towards you. It goes pitch black again. Light flashes again. They're not there.
And how about this? I'm just thinking about this now, okay? They always talk about the integrity of the game. They're all about the integrity of the game. What if someone in here is susceptible to seizures?
Epilepsy? Yeah. Come on.
Not very integral for them.
No.
Didn't really give them a chance, I would say.
But then again, maybe you should bring your seizure glasses.
Some people were really celebrating the integrity of this game. I'm here to tell you, maybe not that integral.
Well, there's a few things this game does that is kind of hypocritical.
And we're going to call him out. That's what we're going to do. The old man, he stops this craziness. He's on a top bunk and pleads for them to, cut the foolishness.
Well, yeah, he's shitting himself.
And we got to talk about it. As we said earlier on, I think this is the first time we'll do this episode. Spoilers, okay? If you did not listen to the first episode, we're spoiling things right out of the gates. Get off now. 3, 2, 1. We know what the old man's deal is. He's putting himself in legit danger here.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think?
This is the first time, like we said, I think the camera, I don't think he was going to get shot, even if he did move in the red light, green light game.
Right.
I also don't think he was going to get shot if his cracker broke in the whatever game that is.
I can't remember, but I feel like he was in a special spot.
Yeah. But here, he could legitimately get killed at any point.
Right.
Because obviously no one...
Obviously, he goes for the high ground. And they did bring all the squids. They were right outside the door as if like something was going to start to happen. But lights go out, if I'm a guy, which I'm not a guy, I'm a very, honorable man, I'm not going to go for the weakest link. But you're like, oh, look at this guy, knock him out quick. You could do it, and there's nothing he can do to stop you.
Yeah, or you could also look at it as that guy is no danger whatsoever, so I'm just going to let him sit there. You could look at it both ways, but...
How cool, when they do the flashback, how crazy would it be? Like they do the flashback and you kind of see how he was behind the scenes of the game or whatever. What if they cut back to this and they showed that he had a knife and he even like killed a person?
That would have been sick.
Like he was getting, wanted to join in the nighttime charade.
Dude, now that you think about it though, that is pretty crazy. Obviously, his whole being the game master or whatever, him having all these people die is very sick in it of itself. But
right.
He did not technically kill somebody with his bare hands the entire time.
Yes. I don't know what your point is there, but...
Well, it just shows that he loves watching it and everything, but when it comes down to doing it himself, not gonna.
So Chad's, as I understand it, Chad's take, he's not that bad of a guy.
No.
All right?
No, he is a bad guy.
We hear you loud and clear.
Not that he is... Well, he's not that bad of a guy, but... He doesn't have the kahunas to do it. Like me, I would be slashing and dashing in there.
Right. He didn't do anything that no one else had to do. Because he did, he had a lot of torque on the upcoming Tug of War game. And he pulled some people off. But,
well,
he had some muscles. But no, I think this is probably... He is putting himself in danger. But I'm going to okay this. Because I think that this was probably one of the largest amounts of... adrenaline he had, knowing that he was in danger.
I think too, he came into this playing this game knowing that there is a chance that he could probably die at some point,
right?
But he was willing to accept it, and like if he could stop it, he will. And then that's kind of like the situation.
But then it is also weird. Like the squids were right outside; they could have came in at any second. Why does he's like the one to stop it? Why do you think that is?
I think he finally was like, all right, I don't want to die right now. I want to keep playing.
Okay.
And called it. But I do think like if, at any point in a game, if he did somehow accidentally die, he would fully accept it.
All right. So we move on to Doksu and, oh, fuck. Okay, one second. I got to make sure I have this right. It's in my notes here. I wasn't prepared for it, but I'll get this going real quick. Doksu and they have some gross toilet sex.
Well,
and it's not the toilet part I'm opposed to. It's more just them. Very gross.
Yeah, because I fully agree with, fine if you're about to die and there's a bad bitch in there, yeah, go have some toilet sex. But
would you have sexual relations with?
No, I would not. Now, if I know I'm about to die and that is like the legit last option I have, maybe. Even then, probably not. I would much rather have it with probably a couple of the dudes in there, to be honest.
Okay.
Than her.
All right, good for you. Congratulations. It's very forthcoming of you.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of toilet sex, though.
Okay, yeah. It took a long time to answer. You really thought about it, and I appreciate that. Do you have a... Obviously, I'm not into the filthy ciggies. Part of the gross parts was how they were breathing that nicotine into each other's mouths while other things were going on. Do you have a like a smoke kink? Do you really get going by the idea of blowing some blueberry shortcake into the mouth of a young lady as you?
No, I've done that before, but that's not like not while doing sexual activities.
Oh, okay. So you just yeah.
I've blown
more just blowing.
I've blown blueberry cheesecake, frappuccino smoke into someone before.
Sprinkles. Don't forget the sprinkles. Yeah.
Yes, I have blown that into someone's mouth before, but that's more of just like jokes and giggles.
Okay.
Not like, oh, let's go have toilet sex.
And there was nothing going on downstairs. No. You're telling me when you did a little blow back and forth with some strawberry shortcake key lime pie, you did not have any twinkle toes down in the...
I did not have any nubs.
Okay. Fantastic. I just needed to... I'm all about learning more. You know, we've known each other for a long time. Anytime I can learn a little bit more about you, I'm into. Yeah, I did not think this...
What about you? Do you like
very attractive.
smokes?
Don't blow anything fruity into my
what if it's like a
breathing space.
Frappuccino?
Now listen, I'm more of a savory guy. If you want to come blow some pot roast my way, then maybe I'll take a sniff, all right?
All right. That's a good flavor.
Next game is Tug of War. We don't know that at first. First, we just have to get into groups of 10. Now, Sung-woo, he's canceled right out the gates because he's very open about not wanting any females on his team.
And it's disturbing, man.
I didn't like it either.
No, this is probably, out of all the things he's done in this show, this is my least favorite.
Right. Being sexist.
Yeah, saying he doesn't want any girls on his team.
I think it would have been great for the Squid Games committee to throw in a game for the girls, kind of. Maybe like a...
cheerleading?
No, I'm talking more like the cootie catchers.
Ballerina
Remember the cootie catchers?
Oh, yeah.
Girls would always make those, do those. Never understood how they worked. I was amazed. Always wanted to play. Mm-hmm. But yeah,
they were always catching my cooties.
Yeah, is that what they were called? Is that
Cootie
what you remember
catchers,
them being called when they would do the blah blah blah?
Yeah,
blah,
it's like paper. It looks like a pyramid.
And they unfold it, and they'd be like, "Oh, look, you're going to marry Corin."
Yeah.
Do you ever know a girl named Corin?
Uh-uh.
It's kind of a weird name now that I say it out loud.
How do you know one?
I've known multiple Corins. If you're a Corin, let us know.
I know like a Corey, a dude named Corey.
And there's girls named Corey.
Don't know any.
Yeah, you do.
Who?
That one guy's sister.
That one guy's sister.
We'll talk about it later.
Oh, I actually do know.
Hey, there you go. Okay.
That's the one I know.
Shout out to Corins and guy and girl Corys. Thanks for listening. We know you are. In this tug of war, you're on a high platform. You all get chained together, and when one team loses, they fall off the deck. Wear a guillotine. Very unnecessary, but I love that it's a guillotine. Will cut the rope, sending said team falling to their death.
Yep.
Good way of conserving ammo.
Yeah, I guess it is a good way of conserving.
Just straight up fall death. You gotta now...
That fall damage is at 100% right here.
Fall damage is at 100%. They did break the bank by being like, now here's a room that we want to play Tug of War in. Let's make it 15 stories high.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, do we need to? Is the fall damage that? And they're like, yes, we need the fall damage.
Here's the thing. If you're the back of the line and you fall on all the bodies somehow, can you live?
You know, I said 15 stories. 15 stories is quite high. That is not how high up they were.
They weren't 15 stories.
And you're saying it wrong, I think. Because guess what I think? What happened here is they all fall off, okay? They hang there momentarily when the guillotine will cut them down. I'm of the
back of the line.
I'm the belief when you're the back of the line and you are hanging all the way down there, I'm not exactly sure how low you are, but if you can get down and maybe do a quick leap out of the way of the other falling bodies, I think that would be your best chance.
Yeah, because if all the falling body, well, it'd be tough because you're all chained together.
You are all chained together.
That'd be tough, but I feel like it's possible.
Together. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, okay.
Oh, that's a
toughie. You're right, because it's like, do you want to be front of the line or back of the line? Okay.
But if you're in the front of the line and you fall on top of the bodies, if you somehow fall in a straight line...
It would be a cushion.
It would. It would.
Let us know what you guys think. Any physics guys? Is that what they're called?
Yeah, I never studied physicology in school, so...
All right, so The Dream Team has to face an opponent that looks much better at Tug of War, but they do not have the old man's Tug of War wisdom. He's got the strat, and it's going to work very well until it doesn't. What did you think of this strat? Because as someone who never enjoyed playing Tug of War growing up,
me neither,
never liked it.
It was always terrible.
I don't think my team ever won in Tug of War. I don't know what that says about me. I think that,
I think you're a strong guy.
Thank you. I think you are also a very strong guy.
Well, no.
You're very lengthy. You got to really pull, I won't call them twigs, but your arms.
Well, my legs, dude. One time I almost broke my femur playing Tug of War.
I have heard that Tug of War, femur, number one damaged body part. Most people wouldn't think that, but look it up. But no, I never liked playing Tug of War. Hearing the strategy opened my mind, and I was like, I got to get in some Tug of War leagues because I got to try this out.
It did. It made so much sense, too.
All of it made so much sense. The bracing, letting them tire themselves out, moving as a unit, I liked all of it.
You think they hired a Tug of War specialist to do that scene?
I think they definitely had some consultants on very high up Korean Tug of War leagues too.
Yeah, a TOWS, Tug of War specialist.
Yep. Now they're pricey, so that just goes to show that Netflix really put out the budget for this thing.
Yeah.
If you're gonna have some TKWOs, like you said, you gotta pay them.
Yeah.
So
beautiful.
But no, like I said, the strat works until it doesn't. Song-woo does some quick thinking, though. They run to the end of the deck, making the others fall, and then pull them to the death once they fall down. Loved it.
Loved it.
Didn't love the dying part, but really quick thinking.
Sound like you did.
You
said you loved it.
You know me. I'm a person who loves strategy. Song-woo nailed it. I thought he did a great job.
Yeah, because if you think about it, as soon as you lose your footing and you're falling down, it doesn't matter if you're pulling or not. The force goes down exponentially.
Exponentially. If you don't have that femur,
I mean, that's what I'm saying. The number
to
one
provide force.
Well, here's how I almost broke my femur. If you want to hear the story,
would love to. And I want to hear it because I don't think it's made up at all. So that's why I want to hear it. I'm gonna take a sip of water and listen to this femur.
Playing Tug of War.
No one call this a femur fib, by the way. This is a femur. This is a true story. Let's see.
All right.
Let's see what happened.
This is totally not a false femur story. Okay. So we're playing Tug of War in God, what'd they call it back in the day? No, this is a true story, guys.
Yeah.
It's a true femur story. God, what do you call it? It doesn't matter what it's called. The high school, or not high school. It was not in high school. It was elementary school.
Yeah. Backyard
sports or whatever. You played it at the end of the year.
Oh, I called it field day.
Field day. That's what it is. That's what I was trying to get at. Femur field day. We're playing out in the on the football field. We did play Tug of War on
the name field day.
Yes. I am in the middle. I'm basically the old man in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody on the other squad.
Interesting that they picked you out to go middle of the line, but keep going.
Well, it's usually the weakest link. Other squad, they pull the same maneuver. They get us. Yeah. We're all tugging and tugging. They do the same thing. They let us lose our footing, and one of my legs goes backwards while the other one stays straight. And then we keep pulling. They keep pulling. So my leg is underneath me, and my femur. Yeah.
Are you suggesting to me that? Are you suggesting? Wait. I'm not laughing because this is not a femur fit.
It's not. Yeah, it's not.
Are you suggesting? I just want to make sure I'm clear. Are you suggesting that there was a group of elementary children who I'm assuming to protect from any feelings getting hurt were picked at random, and in 2 minutes going from the three-legged sack race to the tug of war game, developed the tug of war strategy that we see here in this TV show?
Yes. Listen.
That is incredible.
These kids, there was something about these kids. I don't know if they planned it or what, but they knew what they were doing, man. And we We ended up losing that match.
It's a miracle that you could still walk. So that was the end of the episode. We move on to episode 5, A Fair World. Is it a fair world?
No.
Good answer.
Are you talking about this world or their world? No.
This is just
Either
the
one.
episode title. I thought I'd throw that in there. The very ending there actually happened at the beginning of this episode, but because Netflix has mastered the art of hypnotizing people to watch hours of television concurrently because of the playing the next episode in 3-second feature, I got it mixed up in my notes a little bit. I apologize for that. The Dream Team walks back into the bedroom to the surprise of Doc Su's crew.
Doc Su. So Doc Su is just livid that these people won.
And, like I said, this is just kind of a loose recap I have here in my notes. If you couldn't tell by watching it, him and, wait. They are no longer together. Can't believe those two kids could not make it work.
Thought they were lasting forever.
I did too. And we see where the sneaky squids marked a body that I guess didn't seem to be too damaged, and those are the ones that they get the organs harvested out of. Even though it looked like that guy's cranium was
They had to have
a
some
bit
fall
dented,
damage
so
on those organs.
Yeah, I don't know how they exactly made that determination, but that's what they did. The Dream Team makes a fort to help protect themselves from nighttime shenanigans, and Gihan goes to play a little mind game with Doksu, basically asking him about loyalty and all that stuff. This was a very good move, because he gets in his head.
He does, because... I mean, if Doksu obviously has been thinking about it, but if it's fucking survival of the fittest out there, obviously there's going to be some of that shit going on.
I mean, look at the little rats on his team. They're not going to try and take him down.
Those guys.
They're rats. They look like
They're
rats.
rats.
I can't believe how much they look like rats and they're humans. But yeah, so not much fighting goes down this evening, but they still take shifts, staying up at night. First, we got Songwoo and Ali. They have a nice chat. And we get a long stretch of
they're a good dynamic.
They
I
are.
like them.
Can't wait to see where their characters go down. A good outlook on those two. So we're going to take shifts. Or no, wait. I already said that. We get a whole long stretch of the Doctor storyline here. What did you think about this whole thing overall?
Overall, I think it's interesting, but at the same time, I was like, I kind of wanted it to end. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I was like, it's not bad, but I just want it to... Because it's almost like it goes nowhere after it's done. Like it could have just not been there. I don't know.
I think a large part of the reason they did it was to kind of show that they're telling us a couple things. They're showing us the side of people trying to do anything to cheat their way to know what game is next. And they're also telling us that all the squids are not what we seem to think, because until this storyline, I think I still would have thought that all of the squids were like young children, like we saw in episode 3, I guess it was. Mm-hmm. This tells us that either these guys somehow infiltrated their way in here to really make big bucks on their organ black market sales, or not everyone's kids, and somehow the squids are picked some other way.
You know what else is pretty crazy to think about is if they were... I'm sure they're compensated very well after these games are over with. It's got to be the reason they're here to begin with.
You think?
I would think, because if they really wanted to get back at these higher ups, they have all the weapons. They could get a few people to team up and it's game on. They could...
They do, but they still are living.
See, and I think
they're like trusted prisoners in a sense. Like they're still kept in a quote unquote cell, kind of. They've got people watching them on cameras, but yet they get access to like the guns and stuff.
And that's why I think they have to be like after the game's compensated well, or they wouldn't have been there to begin with. Because
what you're talking about is basically like any army or anything like that ever, and some of those things aren't. People weren't compensated well. They were compensated in a way just enough.
Yeah,
and that stopped them from. It's crazy that more uprisings don't happen to that kind of thing.
Yeah, and it'd be interesting to get like a whole backstory on how any of them even got there. I think that would be kind of cool too.
Yeah, and I've got some stuff more on that later. So long story short, shit hits the fan here. The doctor gets loose, gets to the playground room. He's talking with one of the guys who eventually is going to kill him, but not before the front man kills said squid. And the front man then talks to the doctor and says, you know what? I don't care what you were doing with the organs, but you knew the games ahead of time. And if there is one thing the front man doesn't stand for, it's when people mess with the integrity of the game. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't you dare do it.
And so, the front man kills him.
Mm-hmm.
Junho, he gets the jump on one of the lads who is involved with the organs, and he thinks that
So that guy harvested all these organs just to get shot in the face.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What a waste.
It was a risk going into it, you know?
No, that is true. I guess too, if you know you could die at any moment and you can get the games ahead of time, even though it's a big risk, you're going to do it. But like, he probably knew as soon as he got caught, he was going to get shot, I would assume.
Yeah. It's just the type of guy who has to play to his strengths. He knows that if with going in blind, he didn't like his chances, so he had to have some sort of upper hand. But no, Junho gets the jump on one of the lads who's involved with the organs. He thinks that they did something with his brother. Turns out, nope. He ends up killing that guy and found out about a ladder that goes to the front man's room. Around the same time, they learn that Junho is on the loose, and but yet he still manages to find his way to the record room. And boy, oh boy, this thing has been going on for quite some time.
Yeah, didn't he get it back since like the 70s or 80s, something like that?
I tried looking. What I saw was he finds a list of winners dating back to 1988.
Wow.
And in 2015, the winner, player 132, Hwang In-ho, as in Junho, Hwang In-ho. This is his brother.
It's his brother. So in what year was that again, did you say?
2015.
Okay, so, and I'm assuming this is taking place in 2020 or something like that.
Yes, I would. Okay. I think that's fair to say. So yeah, did you pick up on this right away here?
Yes.
Because obviously, I mean, he does kind of say something. He says like the name out loud. You have to know that Junho's name is Junho.
Yeah, it's kind of just the way he looks too. Like it. Honestly, I didn't know that was his last name. I just kind of the way they did the scene and his reaction, just assumed that it was his brother.
So yeah, and then we get to episode 6, which I think is safe to say the hardest one to get through.
Yeah, for sure. And be honest, did you shed a tear or two?
Did I shed a tear? I think I did.
Okay.
I think I did.
I know watching it with my dumbass roommate Kyle.
Right.
I'm not afraid to cry in front of that man's.
And I respect that.
But
no
tears came out, but I had that feeling in my throat.
Right.
Where I was like, oh God, it's coming.
In my case, I was, in a room all by myself, and I wasn't afraid to let them leak. And while I agree with you, I'm not afraid to let loose some tears in front of you. I'm naturally just going to hold back a little more. Yeah. My threshold's going to be further. But listen, if I'm in a room all by myself watching some TV late at night, just downed an entire lasagna, I'm going to be more inclined to let some tears loose. And I think that's what I did in this episode.
It was just like when we went and watched Avengers Endgame together.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The feeling in my throat at the end of that.
Yeah.
It was. I was close. That was a room full of people, and I was close to letting it out there.
When Tony Stark's daughter asked for cheeseburgers,
Because it's funny, you had just asked me for cheeseburgers after the movie.
I fought hard, man.
Yeah.
I fought real hard. I knew you were there, and I wasn't afraid to let him loose, but I was also, seems like maybe I was afraid to let him loose, and I fought him. I fought him hard.
Yep.
Didn't let him out.
That feeling in your throat, man, that feeling hurts.
I watched it a few months later after I had just finished an entire plate of lasagna, and was I a wreck.
You like lasagna, don't you?
Love it. Love it, actually. Thank you for asking. So episode 6, Ganbu. I didn't like how I said it. How do you say it? Is that right?
Ganbu.
Yeah.
I think you say it right.
You got to say that.
Pause it real quick.
Ganbu. So at the beginning of this episode, chaos is still taking place from last episode. They're all looking for Junho, and the old man has pissed his drawers.
Oh, don't say it like that.
But he pissed his drawers.
They say he's wet. He wet his undies.
Gi-hun gives him his jacket to help him cover up. Very bro thing of him to do. And everything's so stressful that, you know what? Game 6 starting right away because the VIPs will be here soon. People start pairing off. It's a two-person event. Song-woo and Ali team up.
Which Song-woo, of course, is going for the strong guy.
Yeah, muscles, because that's what Ali's got. Mm-hmm. The old man gives the jacket back to Gi-hun.
Kind of gross.
And this was, true. There are a bunch of layers to this. You think that this is a very noble thing to do because Gi-hun panics when he sees him walk up to him because he doesn't want to be partnered with the old man. Turns out, dirty old man doesn't want to get picked. Because as we see later, if you don't get picked, you just go back to because of the integrity of the game bullshit, right? Even though it's not, as we discussed, it's not very integral.
Now I wonder too, though, if he actually was upset that nobody wanted to pick him.
I don't think so because he seems very with it. He knows he knows his lot in life, and I think he's probably disappointed he doesn't get picked because he wants to play. But I think it's exactly what he expects, which is why right out of the gates he just gives him the jacket. And
like how wild would that be if it wasn't the guy he played with? Like say he paired up with Mihai Nai Minai. If he paired up with and my phone was on mute. Let me try one more time. Exactly, yeah. If they would have been like, if she would have won in marbles, if the guy would have just pointed the gun at her and just shot her instead.
Oh, interesting. You're saying the old man, if she had paired up with the old man.
They would have just...
And they were in like a little cul-de-sac of their own.
Yep. Even though she technically won, they would have just shot her in the face. But since it was Gi-hun,
right,
and that's his Ganbu.
Not a whole lot of integrity in that, but as we discussed,
it's the old man's.
We're not so sure how much integrity there really is.
Yeah.
Other places we got girl power with Saibyok, another girl. I don't know her name. Lover, don't know her name.
I know. Great lad.
And eventually, guilt eats at Gi-hun. He takes the old man as his partner, leaving behind. Yep. And we enter a room with a lovely little town, and no point beating around the bush. I was pretty much waiting for this game the whole time, but I still wasn't prepared for it. And by that, I mean I wasn't waiting for them to play marbles. But ever since the second game where they all split up, I've been waiting for the partner-up game where one of them dies and one... Because I saw where this sick show was going, and here it is. They have to play marbles, and one of them will die.
And I think by far for me, the saddest thing, as soon as you realize what the game is, was the old man and Gi-hun. I know that's not... Probably wasn't you probably weren't thinking that. But I was like, fuck. I mean, I knew the old man would die at some point. And this is before I had any idea what the old man was. I was like, but it's just going to suck seeing this. That was my first thought.
Interesting. So you went with them, okay.
That was my initial thought. Now, the saddest moment in the actual marbles, I don't think necessarily was them. It was more...
It's all sad. I don't think you're wrong for that. They do a good job of just showing a very quick glimpse of the husband and wife team, and you're like, oh, fuck.
I'm not... Yeah.
God,
I'm not laughing. It's sad, but just imagine like how much of bitches they've been, and by bitches I mean they've been like the biggest scaredy cats of all, and so like they cowered together, and then that
staying
happens
together. Yeah.
Oh, it's so sad, man. Don't laugh at that.
Yeah, I didn't. You did. And the old man immediately starts going crazy. He's acting like he's not understanding what's going on.
Now, okay, what do you think this is right here?
So, okay, yes, good question. I also have another question. I will answer yours first. I don't know why I said that like a robot. Yes.
Yes, thank you for your question, Chaz.
Yes, good question. I also have a question. I will answer yours first, and we will round around to my question. Thank you. Dude, I don't know. Because I told you this when I watched it the first time, before I even got to the end. It drove me crazy. I didn't like it. Because I thought that out of all of the different pairings, once they got into it, I found this one the least sad because he was just crazy. I mean, I understood like the frustration with Gi-hun and what he was feeling. I think they did a good job with that. But he was so clueless, and they haven't showed us any of that. It was like it just turned on as soon as he walked in here. So I was like, what? Like, why is it?
Do you think that was obviously designed after his actual like town?
Right.
Do you think that since he never really played in the game, when he got to that, he's such an old man now and he actually is sick and stuff, that it just brought back so many memories of him being a kid and he knows he's about to die anyways, that he actually was like, oh my God, this is my town, like thought of it and was like being super nostalgic, not necessarily senile or anything, but just like so many emotions going through him?
Right. So that kind of leads me into my question, which was, I guess this was like the first time I considered whether or not he knew the games going into him or not.
So he did, you think?
Well, I don't know. Because he still could have known the games, and he might have even known that it was going to be his town, but he didn't like see the set until he got there, and then he was like, oh, they did a great job or whatever.
But I also think...
I think for the way that he's seen, I think he said he knew they were kids' games, so maybe he had an idea, but he didn't know until he got there, and then that was part of the fun of being like, oh, now we're going to play Tug of War.
That would be cool, too. But then the thing that makes me think he might have known is when they were separating, and Sung-woo was like, I'll go triangle, and he goes, oh, I'll go star. It was like he knew the next easiest one was star, even though I guess he wouldn't die either way. I don't think they would kill him either way.
But I think we're to understand that he played all these games growing up, so I'm not saying he knew ahead of time, but as soon as he walked into that room, he was like, oh, I see where this is going.
Yeah. And I wonder, too, if it's new games every year, so like he knows like all of the games, but has no idea which ones are going to be picked.
Right. Like they definitely have a 2-person thing where one person walks out every year. Maybe they don't play marbles every year. Maybe they do. And that could be why he was like, no. But that's interesting because it really did make it seem like he was totally fine with not being picked.
Yeah.
And this doesn't hit nearly as hard if he doesn't go into his old town. Then it's just like pointless.
And then that makes me think he's grasping with... I think he's having a hard time this entire time. Like, he is having fun, but then at the same time, he might be reflecting on... I don't know. It's all so confusing.
Because I would say that, but if that's the case, like, even after he's there for a while, he keeps up this charade with... I call it a charade with Gi-hun.
At that point, I think he was trying to prove a point. I think he was just trying to prove a point that even someone as nice as Gi-hun that's been to him will stoop low enough to trick him and try to get him killed. I think that was like because then
I like that because we do see his outlook on humanity at the end. So
I think that was his whole way of proving a point that even though because I think he did think he was like, wow, this guy has been so nice to me, and like maybe he's different. He's like.
He's trying to make him go bad to I do like that. God, you're such a beautiful mind, Chaz. I love that.
Well, I do that to people occasionally.
I love doing this podcast with you. Just the amount of things you bring up, and my outlook on life has just changed. That's fantastic.
You're welcome.
To me, out of the pairings that we see, the girls are the most heartbreaking part.
That's what I was going. Yep, that's what I was going to go with.
Because, like I said, I don't know her name, but the person that Cybiok's with, she launches up like my top character list so quickly in however long this really is. Like, she's just...
What's so interesting about her too is she was literally just sitting in the sidelines pretty much this entire time by herself. Now, she didn't even really have a team, did she? Like with the whole bed scenes and everything.
I think from what I understand, like the first time I remember seeing her is they're basically forced to pick her up in the Tug of War thing.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to go back and see, like, do we see her in red light, green light, and before that, or I'm assuming maybe they show her vote, and I just didn't remember when they are staying or going. But yeah, just their whole talk and them not, them just making their own marble game up right at the end, and that is definitely where I got torn up when she's just like, I've got nothing, you do. Ooh. Stop looking at me like that, man. Talk about something else.
And that's such a baller move. She did it such a baller way, too.
Oh, yeah.
You can't go out any cooler than that.
God, I would never be able to do that. I'd be blubbering like a baby.
Yeah.
And also, I would never. Dude, if I won the game, bro, I would never let you... I don't care what's going on in your life. I'm not doing that for you. You kidding me?
I would do that for anybody. I've got such a kind heart.
I was putting on this tough guy, and now you're gonna make me emotional again. Don't say you do that for me. Moving on. Turns out Ollie's incredible at this marble hand game. I hated this game.
I'm not a fan of it either. It's
It's
all luck.
It's such a bullshit game.
Yeah.
Do what Doksu are doing, or Cybiok and the other girl are doing. Don't do this bullshit. Because if you're going to do a marble game, do a game that matters if you do it marbles. This, you could be using tater tots.
And you know what I would agree on? If I was like Doksu or whatever, I would be like, all right, we each get 2 practice throws, and then we can start the real round.
Okay.
I think that'd be awesome. So you'd even let the squid know, all right, we're doing 2 practice rounds, then the game starts.
Yeah.
I think that's the way to do it right there.
Okay, I like that. Because you're a man who likes a practice round.
Yeah, and I want to make it fair. I want both of us to know the trajectory of the marble, the whole...
Are these standard marbles?
Yeah, we got to make sure about that.
Love that. Yeah, they have a real battle. They change games.
Yeah, they do, which I can't believe the other guy agreed to it.
He didn't. Squiddy overruled him. But I'm trying to remember what game were they playing first.
They were doing that bullshit.
They were doing the bullshit game, and he was and
he was like, didn't he say, "Well, I agreed to your game. You have to agree to mine," or something like that?
Yeah, and so he challenged with the Squid Man, and due to the integrity of the game, he allowed it, and so then they went for a little shoot 'em up. So this ended up being basically an hour-long episode. How long would you say they are in this game room?
An hour?
No, I'm not. Showtime. Hour-long episode. How long did we watch them in the game room?
Oh, you're saying like in live time, how long? I think the timer is around 15 or 20 minutes.
We'll try one more time.
What?
This episode was an hour long.
Yes.
You sitting in your room.
Yeah.
Under the same blanket as your dumbass roommate Kyle.
Yep.
How long did you guys spend on TV time watching them in the game room? Just the game room. Do you still not get it, or are you...
I'm not getting your question at all.
All right. Okay.
Walk me through this. All right, hold on. Let me get the picture going. Me and my dumbass roommate Kyle.
Yep.
We are on the same love seat couch.
Yep.
Under the same blanket.
Not a whole lot of room on the couch.
Under the same blanket.
It is a love suit. Love seat.
Watching the
Your
television.
standard couch is 3 cushions wide. This is a 2 wide cushion ordeal. You're under a
Watching the
blanket.
televised program on the, obviously the television.
Did you guys have a snack? Was there a snack
There
involved?
was not. We did not have any snacks. We had water.
Okay.
Okay. No, walk me through
Okay.
what you're trying to get at.
So you guys watch it. The episode starts. You see, oh wow, this episode's an hour long.
Okay. Yep.
Obviously, at the very beginning of the episode, as I mentioned in my review, we got an old man pissing his pants.
Yeah.
We got teams picked, okay?
All right.
At some point in the episode, you're going to see them walk into the game room, all right?
Okay.
When they walk into the game room, let's say a timer starts, all right?
All right. I'm ready. I get the question though.
Okay.
45 minutes. If it's an hour long, I'm going to guess 45 minutes.
Okay. It was 48 minutes.
Oh, damn.
That was a great guess by you. I would have done terribly because my whole point, and boy, did we take some back roads, was just the fact of I was so involved in this, I thought it went down in 20 minutes looking back on it.
No, I would say this is 100% my favorite show, or my favorite episode in the show.
Yeah.
And not even close.
It was just one of those that you get into and then it ends and you're like, oh my God. And then you go back and you're like, that was an hour? What?
God, such emotional, man.
That was like so foreign of you. That was such a foreign way of you to say.
Well, I was trying to
such emotional.
I was trying to sound
Oh, yeah,
creative.
that episode, such emotional.
I don't even know what to say.
Oh, that when they played that marble game, that was such emotional.
Tears on my face.
Oh, my God. That was the end of the episode, as I just said. We are good on time. We don't need to necessarily do this episode 7. We could save it for next episode, or we could do it now. What do you think?
I don't care.
All right, that's what I love about you. You're always going to pick a side. Such frustrating.
Let's do it next.
You are such frustrating. All right, well, you heard the
On
man.
next.
He said, "Do it." He said he's still very, very foreign. Does not grasp English very well. He's such emotional. And I asked him, and he said, "Do it next." I said, "Do you want to save episode 7 for the next episode, or would you like to do it here?" His answer: "Do it next." I've been Ronnie.
I've been Chaz.
And we will be talking with you soon. Thanks for listening. Peace.
We love you all.